What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just a web series where we're talking about the Transformers live-action movie franchise, episode number 28, and this is the episode that you guys have all been waiting for. This is the episode where I give you my thoughts after watching Bumblebee. Today is December 8th, and December 8th is when they held the special early screening of Bumblebee 2 weeks before its official release on December 21st, at least for its North American release. And I couldn't say no. I actually had another thing I had to do, which was pretty important, but I decided, you know what? This is more important to me. I gotta check out Bumblebee on the very first screening, and I did it. I watched it. And before I tell you my thoughts, before I give you my thoughts, I want to let you know that my expectations were that I knew that this was going to be a good movie. Just watching all the trailers and also the interviews from Travis Knight and just hearing him speak passionately about Transformers and what it meant to him as a kid really it just made me feel very positive, made me feel optimistic about this upcoming film. And then I actually read a lot of people's expectations is that they were saying they're cautiously optimistic, or they're not sure if it's going to be good because Bumblebee's not their favorite character. And I totally get that. But all we need is a good story. All we need is a change in the direction. All we need is for them to give us something fresh, a fresh new take on this franchise, because we were 5 movies in with the same formula over and over and over again to the point where it's getting tired out. And I'm about to start my review, but I'll just tell you that I thought the first movie was great. The second movie was bad. The third movie was good. The fourth movie was fun but bad. And the fifth movie was just terrible. It's time to change things up. And I had a feeling that this movie was going to be good. I came out of the theater. Wow, that was a good movie. That was a really good movie. I was I had goosebumps all over. I was cheering. I was like clapping. Well, actually I didn't physically clap, but in my mind, in my heart, I was clapping because of all the wonderful things that I saw. And it was just a good movie. You know what we needed? You know what we really needed is for simplicity. We needed the franchise, or rather the films, the sequels, to just simplify itself. Go back to basics, and that's what they did. You knew that the filmmakers, the storytellers, Lorenzo de Bonaventura as a producer, Travis Knight as a director, Christina Hodson as a writer, they wanted to bring this back to basics, and that was G1. And while they didn't bring it entirely to G1, the G1 elements are all there. They're scattered all over the place, and they make it a point to have them there. And that's the great thing about them, while Bumblebee is having his own story. Now, what's really great about the story is the characters. I feel that there's some really great writing in this movie. Like, not over the top characters. A lot of the characters here were normal, relatable characters. I mean, when you look back at Sam Witwicky and a lot of the other characters that we've seen before in the past, they were all written really over the top. They're almost like cartoon characters, right? But these are actually humans with human stories, with human emotions, and just like things that we can relate to, things that we can connect with, issues that we understand. And that's what really makes this a good movie. Take, for example, Haley Steinfeld's character, Charlie Watson. Right away, at the beginning of the movie, I already like her. And it's because they really give us so much of her backstory. And a lot of people think, like, okay, it's a Transformers movie. Why do we have to care about humans? But this one, it doesn't matter if you want humans or not. You start liking this character right away. And all those little things, little details that we know about her life make us connect with her more and more. It's almost like it feels like it's 2 stories in one. It's a Transformers story, which is Bumblebee's story, and Charlie Watson's story, and they bring it together seamlessly. And that seamless union just makes the story flow so well. Speaking of story flowing so well, I love the pacing of this movie. It's not like, and I hate comparing the Michael Bay films to this. It's not like the Michael Bay films where you have a lot of like stuff that's going on, silly stuff that's going on. Like, for example, Sam Witwicky going on a job interview. Like they they cut out all that stuff. They don't even need any of that stuff. They make a really well-paced, expertly paced film. Like every scene means something. Every scene connects really well with the next scene. It's just edited really well, and because of that, it just gives you this really progressive story, which leads to this really climactic and very satisfying ending. Man, Travis Knight knew what he was doing right when they gave him the job as a director, and wow. And let's talk about Bumblebee, the character of Bumblebee. Bumblebee's performance was totally on point. And Bumblebee's performance was, it was all facial expressions, eyes. It was all about the eyes. You can really see that Travis Knight was really passionate about making Bumblebee really communicate without communicating, not without physically, without actually vocally communicating. How can we make him communicate better than the previous film? And that was just putting more emphasis on the eyes. It's almost like you already knew what he was saying, or what he was trying to say to Charlie Watson without having him say anything. It was all through the eyes, and it was just done so well. And it borrows a lot from other films, like for example, the Lorenzo de Bonaventura produced Iron Giant, as well as the very fan favorite 80s robot film Short Circuit. You know, it totally borrows a lot of elements from that, and they did a great job borrowing it from it, because those films were actually good. So if you're gonna copy from someone, copy from, you know, someone that was good, and they did just that. So that was really great. So Bumblebee was awesome. Now I want to talk about the actual Transformers themselves. And transformations, man, really clean transformations. Like before, we saw like transformations that were all over the place. You see so much transformation. You see a lot of Bumblebee transforming in and out, in and out, in and out. And it's done in it's like shown in very different ways. Like for example, we get a clean wide shot. We see all the parts go all over the place. It's done very clean. And then we see the more the Michael Bay style, where you see it up close, and then you see a lot of parts everywhere. But I love that detail. So it's a really great combination of both worlds. So that is really great. Shatter and Dropkick, really great Decepticon characters. I have to emphasize that, because we haven't gotten great Decepticon characters in a very long time, if ever. I mean, these are some of the better, or rather the best written Decepticon characters, because we get to see so much of them. We get to see them you know, every part of them, like a lot of facial expressions, the eyes, the mouths. And they are not just minions. That's the most important thing. They're not just minions that are just there to die. They're not Decepticon fodder. They're actually characters that go back and forth. They have conversations. They exist because they are actual antagonists and not just elements to be destroyed. So that is really awesome. For once, I actually wanted these characters to just keep on going, and for them to carry out their mission instead of just kill Autobots, you know? So it was really awesome. They did a great job writing their characters. They're very memorable characters. Even though Shatter is more memorable than Dropkick, Dropkick still, what he lacks for in dialogue, he makes up for in brute force. So that was really awesome. And of course, let me talk about G1, okay? This movie may not be like 100% G1, and it never will be, but the G1 elements are in there to have a purpose. You know how in the Michael Bay films, the G1 elements are in there as an homage. They're just in there to just like give an homage to the fans, pay tribute to the fans, and just like give a nod to the fans, right? And we're like, oh, okay, I got that reference. But this, it's there because it needs to be there. Like, it serves a purpose. It serves a function. And it's just scattered out throughout the movie. And every time you see it, you're like, yes. And what's really great is that this film, you know, Michael Bay wanted to make a film for the brand new audience. It's like Transformers for the new generation. What Travis Knight did is that he made a Transformers film for the fans of the 80s, of the, you know, the originals. And then he made it accessible for brand new fans, these new kids that are getting into Transformers. And he did it perfectly. The balance was done so well. I mean, there's a lot of references in there that kids won't get, but then those elements are just there that they make you really love this film because it has those elements seen on the big screen and done so perfectly. Not a version of G1, but actual G1, like the way they're supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying? So, and the way they're supposed to sound. So that is really, really awesome. Man, what more can I say? Less is more. They kept it simple. I love the human story. I actually really liked the human story, and I liked what she was going through. What's going to happen to her next? I was caring more about the human element of the story of the film than the. But I still care for the Transformers element. But I just like loved the way her character was written, and it was awesome. Let's talk about the action. The action is totally really well done, very well choreographed. I'm talking about robot on robot fighting. It's done really, really well. It's not a mess. I don't even remember the camera ever being handheld once. I don't remember the camera ever shaking. It's all done Steadicam style so that you can actually see what's going on. And a lot of the action is shot wide, so you can see a lot of actions, have them like just go at each other like in one single take. It is awesome. They just really like got rid of the mayhem. They got rid of the mayhem, and you know, I do like enjoy some of the Michael Bay movies. Like they're, you know, he gives us high octane action. That's the thing. He gives us high octane action, but this film really brings it back to basics. And after seeing 5 films with that type of mayhem action, I think it's really, really a breath of fresh air to just take it back to basics, and just have a one-on-one robot fight without a lot of stuff going on in the background. So, like, those films are really complex, but I think this is what it needed. This is the direction that Transformers needs to go in as of now, and Travis Knight put it in the right direction. And speaking of which, nostalgia. Love the nostalgic factor in this movie, having it take place in 1987, and everything was just scattered all over the place, like all those 80s elements, and it just felt so natural. It felt like it really felt like I was in that moment in the 80s, because you see all those little things that were so prevalent during that time, that era, and it was just done really well. So awesome. There are a lot of really great things I want to talk about, but like that's spoilerific, so I'll have to leave that in the next review. But all I gotta say is that this isn't the movie that fans have been waiting for. This is the movie that we need now. You know what I'm saying? After 5 movies, it's time for a change. This is the new direction that we truly need, and Travis Knight gave it to us, and I hope he's the next director for that Optimus Prime solo movie that we'll be getting in 3 years from now. That's what I at least hope for, but this is what we need to see. And I have a feeling that what they did with Bumblebee kind of feels like the 1986 movie. They're changing things up, you know, changing up the characters, but also giving us enough of those elements that we saw from the originals, the first 2 seasons, right? So, and they're doing it in a really, really in a manner which allows the audience to adjust to it, especially if you are a fan of the previous films. It allows you to adjust to these changes, so that is done really, really well. Oh my god, what more can I say? I will have a lot more to talk about. This is my spoiler-free review, and this is also my initial thoughts, and I just have nothing but good things to say. I gave the first Transformers film at 8.5 out of 10. It is one of my top 10 films of all time because it holds a very special place in my heart. I'm actually giving Bumblebee a 9 out of 10. It actually is better than the original 2007 first Michael Bay Transformers film. It's a better film. The story is just tight, and the characters are well written. The action is better, and while there isn't that high-octane, big action that Michael Bay gives us, stepping back to basics is what we really need, and it's a breath of fresh air, and I gotta say that it was better. So it's very, very cool. And it doesn't need to be like a full-on slugfest of robot and robot battle. I just like the scenes where the robots are just doing stuff, where they exist. They do normal things, which doesn't include having high-speed car chases and fighting each other. I love that they're also characters that actually serve a purpose other than to make a visual spectacle. They're there to actually be characters, converse, have dialogue, and interact. You know what I'm saying? So that is really, really awesome. Now it's a 9 out of 10, thus it's not a like a 10 out of 10, not a perfect movie. And the only thing that I'll say that that takes the score away from being a 10 out of 10 is that it's like a lot of other movies, it's cliche. There's a lot of very cliche moments and a lot of very cliche scenes in this movie. There's a lot of things that were written in there that have been done in other films before. Can I fault the movie for that? No, not at all. It's still a great story. Those cliche moments do work for the film, but they're not brand new ideas, and I don't think they're trying to reinvent the wheel or anything. They're just trying to just change up something that already exists, and I think that they really did a great job with that. Bravo to everybody that was involved in this film. This is what fans have been waiting for since the first Transformers film. This is it. This may not be the film that they've always wanted from the very beginning, but since the very first film, this is what they wanted. This is what I've been waiting for, and I'm very happy with this change. 9 out of 10. And there you have it. That is my spoiler-free review of Bumblebee. Can't wait to watch it again. And yeah, loved it. Oh man, I love so many things about this movie. It's such a good movie. It's it's a great movie, and I recommend that you check it out. And I can't think of anything bad to say about this movie at all. And there you have it. As always, if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.